Hello, this is Reddithan, and welcome to GPC Season 7, Week 3 against Champion Joost and the Angels of Beheeyeim. So, in case you have not watched the last 2 weeks, Tynamos are 2-0, plus 10, we've had back-to-back 5-0s, a great start. However, this week we have a new challenge that's probably one of the hardest matchups we are going to face this season, and that is Joost and the Z Lando-T. Lando-T really, in my opinion, is the best mon in draft format right now with Z moves. I think that it is borderline broken. Not borderline broken. I think it is like easily broken, just because in many matchups, if it just sets up, you pretty much just lose because like the Z moves on it just make sure it gets like a guaranteed KO on a lot of mons, and I think it's incredibly broken because of that. So. Anyway, I'm going to go into what I brought, and we'll see a certain theme here. I'll talk about this in a minute, but first off, we have Base Rob, max special attack, with just enough speed to speed creep, Jolly, max speed Landers-T, with Seed Flare, Hidden Power, Ice, Earth Power, and Healing Wish. I got the Koba Berry on there so I can take Supersonic Sky Strikes after the Landers Rock Polish is up, and then I can bring it down to a very, very low range with Hidden Power Ice that either Zygarde can E-Speed to kill it or Kecleon can Sucker Punch to kill it. So, yeah, if I have Rocks up, then I believe I do have a really good chance to OHKO. If it's not guaranteed, I actually don't remember. But anyway, this thing just ensures that I don't get swept by Lando-T because it can switch in on Earthquake. It pretty much switch on Lando anytime as long as it's not like a U-turn set, and then proceed to put it down to really low with HP Ice. I got the Seed Flare on there just because like that's one of the best moves in the game. It hits the Tyranitar. That's actually mainly it. It's hit Tyranitar and Blastoise, which both are actually kind of annoying to my team, so that helps a lot. And then I just got the Earth Power there because it hits pretty much everything else. It hits the Registeel, hits the Electivire. Even Electivire is going to take a lot from a Seed Flare anyway. It hits Blaziken. This is really all I needed. I could have put Dazzling Gleam on there to hit the Latios and the Scrafty harder. However, I decided to put the Healing Wish because on my team, like I really don't have that much recovery, as we'll see later. So the Healing Wish just makes it so I have some way to heal up my mons, because actually like none of them have any form of recovery. So except like Swampert has leftovers, I believe, and then. Yeah, so, yeah, this thing was mainly, it just had a really good matchup, but really nice for Lando too. Next up is Klefki with Flower Play, Reflect, Light Screen, and Magnet Rise. This thing has the Light Clay because I like my screens, and with my team not having that many like dedicated walls as it is, just having the screens is really nice because it lets me actually like switch in the stuff, which with like a more hyper offensive draft like mine, that's kind of hard to do. And then this thing was also meant to not just lose to Lando-T because I can Magnet Rise and then I could just Foul Play, and that just 1v1s the Lando. This thing can take a +2 Supersonic Sky Strike, so that's pretty nice. Next up we have the Zygarde, and I'm actually going to say right now this was actually a mistake. This is a 1000 Arrows, Sludge Wave, E-Speed, and Dragon Dance. This actually should have been HP Ice. Because like I said, if Lando sets up, I just lose. So I kind of had to make sure that doesn't happen. So I had to put HP Ice on here, Naive Life Orb, which that plus the E-Speed guaranteed kills. But I accidentally put Dragon Dance on there because I originally had Dragon Dance, but I changed it like last minute. But I actually forgot to change the change this one move. So yeah, this ends up being a Dragon Dancer, which actually comes into play a lot later, which I will go into. But of course we got 1000 Arrows. 1000 Arrows hits actually literally everything on his team, other than the Scyther, which does not want to take an E-Speed anyway, and the Whimsicott, which dies to a Sludge Wave. And then we just got E-Speed on there because that's like I have really no reason not to put E-Speed on there. So yeah, this thing he really just didn't have much for this thing. Zygarde just ripped a hole through his entire team. Next up is Swampert, Fizdaff with Earth Power, Ice Beam, Stealth Rock, and Yawn. First two moves are pretty self-explanatory. Earth Power and Ice Beam hit his entire team pretty much. I didn't even need water move to yeah, second time I brought Swampert, second time it doesn't even have a water move, but you know what's gonna do. Again, I got Ice Beam for the Lando because Lando is really spooky and I can't let it set up again. I have to say that every time because it's true. And then we got Stealth Rock because I just wanted a Stealth Rocker on this team, and as long as I can like wear down his stuff, we're looking pretty good. And I just put Yon on there because I figured that the main switches to this thing were going to be like Whimsicott and Latios and possibly Golbat. If Golbat comes in and tries to defog or something, I can just Yon it and put it to sleep, and then I can keep my rocks up. If the Latios comes in, it's not going to get... it's not going to want to be Yon. Like, nothing that would switch into this thing would want to fall asleep, so Yon's really nice for that. And it's really nice alternative to kind of like phase, quote-unquote. So yeah, I like Yon a lot. It's a pretty cool move. Next up, we have Starmie with Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Substitute with the Electro MZ. This also really just pokes a hole through his team. Like, these three moves hit literally like his entire team. There's only, yeah, the only thing that these moves don't hit super effectively. There's Stoutland. Actually, no, he has a lot of stuff that doesn't get hit super effectively, but the things that take neutral from it still take a ton. I actually put the Substitute on here just because I knew that the Tyranitar was possibly going to be a Pursuit Trapper, and I knew I wouldn't be able to kill it with Hydro Pump in most situations, so say he tries to switch into something like the Mega Blastoise, or, yeah, mainly the Blastoise, I guess, or the Registeel. I can sub up on that. I can take out the Blastoise with Electrium Z boosted Thunderbolt. If he switches in the Registeel, it's not going to appreciate a Hydro Pump. And if it doesn't have Seismic Toss, I can't even break my sub anyway, so... Yeah, and then the Tyranitar won't be able to Pursuit Trap me, which is really nice. So, yeah, this thing just ripped a hole through his team. I put the Electrium Z on there for the Golbat and the Blastoise, because both of them are kind of really annoying to this team, and keeps my team, and keeps Zygarde from doing its thing. And actually, no, Golbat doesn't keep Zygarde doing this thing, but Blastoise sure does. So I just wanted that for Blastoise mainly. And finally, we have Assault Vest, Kecleon with Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Drain Punch, and Sucker Punch. All the punches. we got a punchy lizard going on here. So Ice Punch is there for the Lando-T and the Latios. I mean, I don't even need to explain this. Like, the coverage is pretty self-explanatory. Just kind of hit as much of his team as I possibly can, and then Sucker Punch is there for priority. I mainly had this thing as my main Latios switch in because I don't really have much that really likes switching in except for the Klefki. And even then, if he goes for like HP Fire or something, it wears this thing down really quickly too. So yeah, this thing overall just kind of pokes through his team, and most of his team can't OHKO it anyway. So it's pretty nice for that. Anyway, so let's go into the battle as we will see that he did not even bring the Lando-T. And I'm actually going to get more into this after the battle, but yeah, that ended up actually. Well, I'm not going to say anything. But anyway, so first turn leading off, I am going to, or he's going to lead off with Latios. I lead off with the Kecleon. I decided to lead with the Kecleon just in case he leads with the Registeel, because the Registeel is not going to appreciate a Drain Punch, and or the Tyranitar actually. Like, both of his potential rockers, and neither like staying in on a Drain Punch. So I figured I can get as much damage as possible on his potential rockers. And also, if he decided to lead with the Latios, like he did, this is really the only thing on my team that can guarantee living whatever this wants to take, and then like killing it pretty much. So yeah, Kecleon just seemed like the safest lead. Really the only thing that could do a lot of damage to this thing was the Scrafty. So anyway, I'm just going to go for the Ice Punch as he actually goes for the Dragon Pulse. Like I said, I'm AV, so that does like literally nothing. I'm actually going to go for the Ice Punch. It takes him all the way down to 4%, and he reveals the weakness policy, but he gets frozen. You'll see in a minute, like, I do have the Sucker Punch, so I'm actually going to go for it here, so it didn't matter too much. I assumed he didn't have the Recover, because weakness policy Recover is kind of weird, and I feel like he would have gone for it there if he did, but either way, the Latios is going to go down. That could have been really bad, but Sucker Punch really coming through for me there. So Kecleon getting the first kill. I'm really liking this thing. So yeah, the Latios is going to go down. So a huge threat already gone, and he's going to go into his Electivire, as I was hearing the Thunder Punch, as he actually goes for the Ice Punch there, predicting the Zygarde. And at this point, I really should not have kept Swampert in, because I thought that this thing would have HP Grass, and I know that that's not going to OHKO, because this thing does not have great special attack, and I knew from that damage this thing was max attack. So I knew that Hidden Power Grass wouldn't kill. However, he reveals the Natural Gift, and Swampert's actually going to go down there. So really bad, because I don't get to get up my rocks, which I guess isn't the biggest thing in the world, but not having Swampert later on is kind of sucky, because Jan could really help me out a lot in this game. So yeah, Swampert's gonna get out there. Like I said, I should have switched out into Shaman there, because I'm gonna be honest, I really just completely forgot about Natural Gift. I know that a lot of people do. That's just like, it's just one of those moves that you always like forget about, because like everyone gets it, but you never really expect it. But from now on, I probably should start looking out for that. But because even if he had like the Flamethrower, he wouldn't have gone for it there anyway. So yeah, bad play on my part, but clever move by Joost to put Natural Gift over HP Grass, because that actually kills the Swampert. So yeah, I'm done. So I'm going to go into the Klefki here, because I can take anything this thing wants to take. As I go for the Reflect, as he goes for the EQ. I'm decided just to go for the Reflect over the Magnet Rise, because I figured that he might not have the EQ. So and then I just take a bunch of necessary damage, but so I'd take like 25 anyway, which is fine. And then I'm actually gonna go for the Light Screen here, or the Foul Play, to take as much damage as possible. And I did that because I knew that if he went for the if I revealed the Magnet Rise there, then he would likely switch out next turn, and I just wanted to get damage on this thing when I could. So now I actually do go for the Magnet Rise after getting damage, and a nice crit. Didn't really matter too much, I don't think, but because all my mons like still kill it anyway. So I'm gonna go for the Light Screen here as he goes for the Thunder Punch. That does nothing, and here I'm just gonna go for another Foul Play as he goes into his Scrafty. And at this point, no, actually switch out. Sorry, I go into Shaman, predicting the switch, but we're actually gonna see here why Scrafty is a huge issue. Because if you noticed in my, when I said before, I could have put Dazzling Gleam on this thing. I could have put Dazzling Gleam on Klefki. I could have put Dazzling Gleam on Starmie. None of those mons have Dazzling Gleam. So I actually have, like, very, very little that actually deals with this thing. So I kind of just had to hope this thing wasn't set up. As it actually switches out here, goes into the Registeel just in case I had the Dazzling Gleam. But yeah, I'm gonna go into that in a minute. Or actually after the battle, why that was such a problem. But so I'm gonna go for the Seed Flare. This Registeel takes 12%, so revealing this thing is actually a Spadef set. I decided to switch out here because I don't know what this thing is going to go for. I actually probably should have stayed in because I had a Natural Cure anyway. This is actually going to go into the Kecleon here. And he goes for the Toxic. And that's why I should have stayed in. I'm not really sure why he went for that, because Shaman has Natural Cure. I could have just stayed in Earth Power, get damage, and then switch out. But I really just did want that Shaman at as much health as possible, because at this point, it was really my best way to deal with Scrafty. So, I mean, I don't know if Joost is predicting the switch or not, or what, but, yeah, I don't really understand that play, but I guess I understand why I did it, because I guess he doesn't have Seismic Toss. I don't think he ever reveals it, but I'm actually just going to go for the Drain Punch here, as he goes into the Scrafty. I guess he didn't expect the Drain Punch, but either way, it does not do that much, because this reveals that this thing is actually Max Fistoff. So I assume that this was, at this point, this was more of like a bulky set to deal with Zygarde with like Drain Punch, Ice Punch, Knockoff, and probably I don't know what else he has actually. So I'm going to go into the Klefki here, as he takes actually like very little from the Knockoff. I lose my Light Clay, but this is where Dazzling Gleam would have been really, really nice on this thing, because I actually can't touch it. I can just set up my screens and pretty much stack this thing. Yeah, So I'm gonna go for the foul play here, and yeah, it reveals this thing is definitely like no investment in attack, which isn't the worst thing because it means that this thing isn't like a bulk up kind of set, which is good for me because that just wins. But he's gonna go for the Ice Punch here, and here I actually do switch into the Shaman, I believe. Yeah, because with the Reflect Up, Ice Punch wasn't going to do anything anyway, as it was my Koba Berry, which doesn't really matter because he doesn't even have the Lando. So here I could just click Seed Flare and wear it down as he actually sacks his Electivire here. And now I believe he goes into the Registeel, yeah. And I actually do go for the Earth Power, which does a decent amount, and yeah, this thing reveals that it has Iron Head, not the S, as my toss, so I can keep taking hits from this thing. However, like I said, I want to keep that Shaman as much health as possible, so I'm actually just going to sack the Klefki here. And now I do go into the Kecleon, I believe, yeah. Because he still doesn't really have much that wants to deal with this thing. I'm just going to go for the Drain Punch as he protects. So Protect, Iron Head, I'm assuming Ice Punch for the Zygarde, and I guess Stealth Rock, I believe, yeah. As I go for the Drain Punch, which does a lot to this thing, revealing that it is indeed Spit like I thought. And here I actually do go into the Zygarde. Even if it does have the Ice Punch, it's not going to kill, and SHG does protect like I expected. So this thing with my spread, it can't actually take 1,000 arrows, so I'm just gonna go for 1,000 arrows there, and it's gonna crit didn't matter, but anyway, he dies. And now he goes into the Scrafty, and I really don't want to take an Ice Punch, so I'm actually just going to switch into my Kecleon here. Pretty much just a sack. I really should have kept this thing around, because the Starmie was kind of more useless in this matchup because it really was only good for the Tyranitar, and like even the Whimsicott outsped and killed. So I should have just gone to the Starmie there because he was definitely going for the Ice Punch, and even if he went for knockoff, it wouldn't kill because I'm the Z move. So I'm gonna lose my Kecleon there, which is really unfortunate because it was like really like my only, it was really my best thing for max speed Whimsicott. So kind of a bad play there, as I do go for the Seed Flare. And that does a ton of damage to this thing, like a lot more than I thought. So I'm just going to go for another one here, because he really has nothing that really wants to take it, even though Whimsicott doesn't appreciate that. So, and here's the biggest misplay though. Like the Kecleon, I guess that was like a minor misplay. Here's the huge misplay. What I should have done here is I should have Healing Wished, and I should have gone into the Zygarde. And that is because Zygarde, like I mentioned my mistake before, is that I actually had D-Dance over HB Ice when I should have had HB Ice. However, at this point in the battle, I did not know that. I thought this thing had HB Ice. Had I known that it had D-Dance, I could have Healing Wished with the Shaman, gone into Zygarde, set up an easy Dragon Dance, because Ice Punch would do at most like 50 to this thing, because this thing has no attack investment. Could have set up a D-Dance, and then I actually just would have won, because this thing was weakened enough to the point where it was not a counter to this thing. Of course, the Whimsicott would have died to Sludge Wave, and then the Tyranitar would have died to 1,000 arrows. However, because I did not know that at the time, I'm actually just going to take this thing out with the Scrafty, and that was a huge, huge mistake, because now the Whimsicott can just come in, and it reveals this is an offensive set. It kills me with a Moonblast. I go into the Starmie hoping that it doesn't have the Energy Ball, but it does, so Starmie is going to die. And then Zygarde, of course, is not going to live a Moonblast, so yeah, just really, really unfortunate there. Like I said, I really shouldn't have had the HB Ice. I mean, I really shouldn't have had the D-Dance, but that really could have won me the game if I realized that at that point. Because this thing was actually Expert Belt, and like 3 attacks, I believe. 3 or 4 attacks. Either way, it didn't have anything to shut down a +1 Zygarde, and it would just died to Sludge Wave. The Tyranitar would have died to 1,000 arrows even after Intimidate, because after getting a D-Dance up, I shouldn't be mad at myself, because, like I said, I really didn't know, but this definitely was a winnable game from my standpoint. Joost played very well. I'm not going to take that away from him. He played, he did exactly what he needed to do to win. But yeah, I definitely could have played better. The Kecleon sack, because this thing actually could have taken any move from the from the Whimsicott. That was also a bad play. But you know, hindsight's 2020. You know, you can't win them all. But yeah, I'm actually going to go into why Lando-T is, I believe, is pretty broken now. I've preached this a lot. You can, if you have no interest in hearing me talk about this, just like close the video now. But basically, the thing is that he didn't even have to bring it, but it still destroyed me in the sense that I had to absolutely like over prep for it, because if you look at my team, and it's not just my team, like a lot of teams are like this. If the Lando-T just sets up, I lose, like straight up. So I kind of had to put ice coverage on literally everything, and then I had to run like this Klefki set that couldn't hit the Scrafty, and like I pretty much just lost because of that. Like, had I been able to put Dazzling Gleam on this thing, had I not been forced to run HP Ice on on Shaman, could I put Dazzling Gleam, you know, this game could have definitely been a lot different. But the fact that I had to over prep for it, and he knew that, like he pretty much knew exactly what I had to do, like to prep for that thing, and so he was able to take advantage of that. And that's why I do think that Lando-T is, with Z moves, is really overpowered, because it forces prep so hard that the opponent can pretty much knows exactly what you're going to bring. And like, you know, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying away from Joost, because with a good player such as Joost, you can easily take advantage of that. He really should be 3-0. He got hacked in one of his games to make him 2-1, but he should be 3-0. Remember last season, Zazo had that thing, and it, like, he went essentially undefeated because of it. It is just insane. So that's really all I'm gonna say about that thing. I will not be surprised if Joost ends up winning the season with that thing, because it is just so insanely overpowered. But anyway, enough of that. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Reddithin, and I will see you in the next video, and goodbye.